And we are live. Happy Sunday, everyone. Super excited for us to be here to play. Hopefully, internet will cooperate. Come on, internet. Can we cooperate? Rose, again. There we are. So, hello, everyone. Happy Sunday. It is Sunday on May 19th, 2024. The very last day of the sun in Taurus energy. Now, hopefully, we're going to be able to do this without freezing. I keep freezing. So,
well, you're not freezing to us.
On my end, I'm freezing, so I don't know what that's about. Anyway, so Kitty, introduce yourself. Let everybody know who you are.
I'm Kitty Buteawake Foss, storytelling astrologer, reader of the stars, co-owner of Intuition of the Soul, which is what that IOTS is. And we're here to play. Yes, it is the last of this energy in Taurus. And this has been a powerful Taurus because we've had Jupiter and Uranus in Taurus along with us, and Venus at this point. And so busy time with this energy, and it's been stabilizing us. It's been stabilizing us in rapid change. And so this Taurus energy kind of came along after we sat with our Aries energy of looking and how do I really see who I am? And of course, it is the energy that only moves at the pace it's ready to move. I really see who I am. So, and tomorrow is quite the day for, first of all, we have a very long void, of course, which means our own moon's energy is stepping up and working. And one of the longest ones I've actually seen in a very long time. And then it moves into Scorpio. What's really interesting about this moon, though, is it's not really talking to anybody tomorrow. Our own moon in the void, of course, and the Scorpio moon. It's not talking to any of the Taurus placements, nor is it talking to spirit. At 10:34 tomorrow night, it is having a conversation with Pluto, and it's a square. So there's a resistance in this transformation energy of the moon to figure out what it is we want to transform. So Gemini starts right off with quite the push out of the nest energy heading out. And starting today, we had this really kind of cool, magical energy move in that is here until the 24th of the 28th. And it's really, it's very cool energy. We have with this, it's a sextile with Spirit and with Jupiter, and it lasts until the 28th. It even lasts as it leaves that 29 degrees and goes into Gemini, Jupiter. And so it's a lot of opportunities. We've been looking at synchronicities. More of them are going to arise coming up. And then this powerful Sagittarian full moon, all this random things that seem to be coming up. Nope, they've been luck. It's a moral, it's what it is what has served its time is taken off on this moon. Very, very much socially, spiritually. Of course, Gemini is a very social sign. It's the only personal thinking energy sign. The rest are more expanded. So anyway.
Yes. So that quick introduction. Our title for this week, for today, it's a busy week.
It's a busy week. Yep.
As Kitty just briefly mentioned that, yes, and I mentioned that tomorrow, today is the last day the sun sits in Taurus energy. And in the middle of the week, by the 23rd, we have Venus leaving Taurus as well, which Venus is the ruler of Taurus. And then we also have Jupiter that's transiting out of Taurus, which has been sitting in Taurus energy for 12 months, getting ready to make its way into Gemini, sitting in Gemini's energy, I believe, for 13 months. I want to talk a little bit about the energy of the numbers, because I think that plays a big part in what's taking place this week. Specifically today's numbers. And in fact, I was just having a conversation with my daughter a little while ago, complimenting her and her husband for being right on track, right on target. I love when people do things and they have no subconscious awareness that they are so perfectly aligned with the energy So of course I had to reach out to her to congratulate them on what they're doing, what they did today. So without going all into their business, and just to share a little bit about them, they're in the process of getting ready to move, which means packing and decluttering and all that stuff. And today they were painting. And as I was sitting getting ready for tonight's show with Kitty, I happened to add up the number for today. And I was like, oh my God, today is a overall, when you add the whole number up, it works out to be 5. 5 is about change. It's about freedom. It's about courageousness, because we have to be courageous enough to make the changes that we need to make. Otherwise, we end up standing still. Even though maybe the universe might be pushing you to make a change, we still sometimes stand still. In addition to that, 5 energy of change, freedom, courageousness is also about being playful. And when we can fall in the place of playfulness, we can shift our mindset from whatever it was that might have, the choices that we might have chosen at the time prior to get us to where we are today, where we call it the stresses or the, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening sort of thing, which is what most of us do. We move into a space of stress, overwhelmness, anxiety because of decisions that we make. However, when we shift our mindset and we can recognize that those decisions we made then helps us to be where we are today, and we can be playful about it, it gives us a reset. And that reset allows us to move forward in recognizing that something new and exciting is about to happen. A brand new chapter for everybody based on today's date. And ironically enough, with this energy, it really falls nicely aligned with the fact that the sun is moving out of Taurus and moving into Gemini. So lots of endings, and with endings comes a beginning. Now, it's not always a new beginning right away. Sometimes that new beginning takes a little while to show up. So if any of you out there are experiencing that ending and you're not quite seeing that new beginning just yet, be patient. It's coming. It just may not pop in immediately. So be patient with your new beginning process. So I want you just to look at the dates for this week, just to add them up. So obviously, if today's a 5 energy day, overall energy, tomorrow's going to be a 6 energy day. So 6 is about healing and nurturing and taking care of yourself. Looking at your schedule for tomorrow and making sure you put yourself on your schedule at some point, whether it's early in the morning, midday, mid-afternoon, or evening, and make sure you put some time for you for self-care. Because it's really important, because of this busy week we are about to experience, it's very important to take care of yourself. It is not selfish to be self-care. It's very important. And I know a lot of women out there, and I'm speaking to you women, and I'm raising my voice about this, because you tend to think that if you are taking time out for yourself, you're being selfish because you could be doing something else instead. I want you to take time out for yourself tomorrow. Selfish or not selfish, I want you to take time out for yourself. And in addition to Monday being the 6th, by the time we move into this Tuesday, that's the 7th. So that's a day for meditation. That's a day to go within and evaluate maybe the last 30 days or 60 days or 90 days and see where you were and see where you are now. That's an evaluation day. And now by the time you get to Wednesday, I believe, are we on? No, that would be Thursday. Wednesday happens to be the 22nd, which sets the master builder as a master number. So you want to pay attention to what it is you are in the process of building. What are you building? What new journey are you about to build? And that's this energy we're moving in with. So that 22nd day, now, of course, I got myself all confused based off numbers because I had to go to say 22nd. So hold on 1 second, folks. Don't run away. 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so that's our 9 energy day. So that, again, that's an ending. That's not a day to start something new. That is literally a day to put a period at the end of your sentence. So finish your project that you started maybe the beginning of this month. Finish that up. And then as we move on to the 23rd, which happens to be when Venus transits out of Taurus and also our full moon in Sagittarius. That is a biggie. Now, I'm going to pause my thought right there. Kitty, talk about the full moon in Sagittarius because it is a biggie.
Well, it's interesting because you're also talking about Venus, and my Venus happens to be in Sagittarius, and it's a transiting day for Venus into Gemini. So it's experiencing that. So yeah, we're talking about Venus in Gemini, and Venus is about beauty, our abundance, our balance. It is both the ruler of Libra energy, which is our bigger justice, air, and balance, and Taurus, our values, what we find beautiful, what keeps us stable. And moving into Gemini is very much about experiencing that. Very much Venus in Gemini wants us to, when we talk about experience, it's how we look at something. So it's interesting, it's an ending day. How are you looking at wrapping up that energy? How are you looking at what is beautiful, your perspective on it? And again, how once I've experienced it, how do I communicate that? Do I communicate it non-verbally? Do I communicate it verbally? What is the technological piece that's around it? Because we've always got Mercury in there when we're talking about Gemini, and the fact that it's Sagittarius, a Sagittarius full moon. Sagittarius is all about the truth. What's also interesting, if at that point, is we have something that's unusual. It's called an out of sign conjunction. Usually, when signs are conjunct, they're in the same, or planets are conjunct, they're in the same sign. But we actually have, the Sun, we have Jupiter, and we have Neptune conjunct. The Sun, which is in Gemini, Jupiter, which is at the 29th degree of Taurus, and we have
Neptune
in Pisces. And so this is very much about spirit here, moving us forward in how we're experiencing things and how we're resetting the karma about what we value, how we stabilize ourselves, and what we see beautiful, because we're sitting at that 29th degree of Taurus and Jupiter and that expansion energy. So it's a really interesting day, as you said, because full moons are about gratitude, letting go, and giving forgiveness. And we really are looking at our moral compass here, looking at the position of outside of where we've been, and we are letting go of what has served its time for us. This isn't about what resonates with me, what's in my way. This is going to the closet and picking out that top or that pair of pants and going, I just don't need these anymore, and putting it to the side. That's the level of truth we're coming to, and Spirit's leading the way to push us really quite forward, to be stable, to understand what our values are, again, to be very authentically ourselves. This 2024 year really is pushing that forward, experiencing our authenticity, who we are. And it's a very positive, it's about very much loyal. Where am I going to put my loyalties? Where am I going to put my alliances in particular?
Yes, and to add to that, as Kitty is stating, that this is with Neptune being in that alignment where it is about our spiritual journey, reminding yourself that we are all spiritual beings having multiple human experiences, and anything that we are going through, as I like to call them, the lessons that we experience. We all experience different lessons. We're all at different cycles in our journey, and these lessons are important for us to learn them, as opposed to trying to rush through them. Because if we're rushing through them, we're not learning anything, which then means that somewhere along the line, that lesson's going to show up again at some point because you didn't learn something from it. It's like being in school. If you don't pass the exams, you can't possibly graduate to the next class. So it's really important that recognizing that your lessons are a part of your spiritual journey. And it's really important to experience the lesson. Learn something from the lessons that you are in right now. Well, and when you can learn something, you can evolve to the next level of where you're supposed to be going on your journey.
Well, and that particular day is ending, again, things that just have served its time for us, because we're resetting the karma about. That's why it's so important what we value. because we're stepping into this very big social growth energy as Jupiter moves into Gemini, and it's about that collective. And so taking those lessons and aligning them with who you are. If you stay really focused on your authenticity, that's all the parts of you that sometimes don't get along, because we're resetting the karma about that value, what we're going to be attracting, all of those kinds of energies. So
Yes. And I always like to remind everybody to be in the know, because two things are going to happen here. And notice the words I'm using, going to happen. You have no choice about it. You have the choice to make these changes on your own and experience the lessons and do it with ease and grace and learn something. Or, again, because everything's in alignment, the universe is going to kick you behind and kick you off the cliff. And the universe is not going to put little wings on the back of you so you can very easily and gently fly down. The universe is going to kick you off. You're going to get bruised. So my suggestion would be to really take this opportunity of whatever your lessons are right now, wherever you are, what chapter you're in. Now, you may actually be in a chapter of your life right now where everything is really pleasant and exciting and like joyful. Enjoy that chapter, because it's a guarantee that there's going to be something that's going to flow up eventually that's going to put you in another chapter, because that's just how life goes. So nothing is ever permanent. So if you're in a bumpy chapter right now where you just feel like you've been beat up, and like every day you wake up, it's like, oh my God, really? Again, another thing, you're eventually going to get to that place where the other person is, where they're in their joy. You're going to get there too, but experience it. Allow yourself to learn something from what you are going through at this time. This way here, you have a story to share. You can share with your friends how you got through whatever it is you're going through, and be a supporter to somebody else that may very well get to that point where you are right now. They will eventually get there later. So experience
it and choose with discernment and intention your response. That's the awakening piece. It's not that people don't go through things. It's how they respond, what they do, and then the energy around it changes, and so do the things you attract. So you're right. I'm still going to have bumps in the road. My response to the bumps in the road talk about the magnitude of the whiplash of them. And that's a really big piece of what this very interesting full moon.
Exactly. Like, I want to share a quick story, and then I'm going to talk about the 24th and 25th dates, because those are important based on numerology. So based on the journey that I'm on right now, in regards, as I said, my daughter's in the process of moving, and we're doing a lot of decluttering at my dad's house. And the other day, my dad and I were just like friction. It was like, what would you call it? Like water and grease, I guess.
Oil and water.
There you go, oil and water. And it was just like that. And I got so annoyed with him. I said, you know what? I'm done. I'm walking away, and I'm not doing it anymore today. So I went to my car. I stormed away, and I just sat in my car for a little bit, and I thought about it. And I literally saw myself in the situation with him. And I'm like, you know what? Let me have a little compassion for him, because we're moving things out of his basement that he has not moved out in over 54 years. So there's a lot of emotion for him. And let me be gentle. Let me give him grace. Let me give him ease. So I decided to wipe my eyes, because I was annoyed and frustrated and crying, and put on my big girl panties and go over to him and give him a hug and tell him I love him and that we're going to do this slowly and together. And we continue doing what we have to do. So I was able to step away from it for just a moment and then see where he was at, so I can give him a little ease, grace, and understanding. So shifting my mindset of rather than getting angry about it because it wasn't going quite the way I had planned it, I had to be gentle. And I still have to be gentle, because again, this is his home, 54 years, that this is the first time there's a lot of stuff being decluttered out, and it's all good. And at the end of the result, it's going to be amazing. And I'm very proud of him as well for doing what he's doing, and proud of myself for helping. So that's a big part as well. So When we look at the calendar for the 24th, 24th's not as massive as a date as the 25th is, but I don't want the 24th to go without being noticed. So we add up the numbers to the 24th, because everyone needs to be noticed here. The overall date for the 24th adds up to be a 1. So again, that Friday, after we've just had this experience between the Sun and Venus shifting out of Taurus, moving into Gemini, that's a new day. A new day to think about the relationships you're in, your physical material possessions. How are you going to experience things? Allow yourself to step back a moment and look around what's going on in your life at that very moment and see if you can see it differently, such as what I did, where I saw I was able to give grace, compassion, and ease to the situation. Here's the big one, the 25th. When we add that day up, it works out to be an 11. So, and I don't know if the overall number is 11, so I'm going to add that up right now. And I don't have my calculator in front of me to actually do the real math. If somebody has a calculator, does it add up to an 11, people? Let me see. Let me see. Got to do the math. Cannot do the math in my head, so please don't expect me to. Not happening. Not in my head. Well, it actually works out to be a 2, so it's not an 11 day. It's a 2 energy. Even though, yes, when you're looking at the numbers and you're writing it out, so that 11. So we can pretend that it's an 11 energy. Why not? Or writing out all the numbers under each other. The 11 is a reminder that it's a master healer. You are the master healer to the journey that you are on, as we experience on the 25th, which is our big energetic day, because that's when Jupiter transits out of Taurus and into Gemini. And Kitty, Jupiter's going to be in Gemini for 13 months, yes?
Yes, a little bit longer.
Oh, a little longer. Let's talk about this Jupiter Gemini.
What?
When is right to Kitty?
Jupiter Gemini is going to be very much the next year about, because Jupiter is expansion, Jupiter is truce, and this is expanding in a very social. Gemini is a very social energy. Very much about the polarity that we live in. We had a really interesting ride with Mars in Gemini just last year, really teaching us how do we align our will, holding the polarity of opposites. And that was really to get ready for this Jupiter. For us to really understand how we can hold those components and align our will with the fact that everything lives in a duality. And again, Gemini is about how we experience it, because it is a duality. Nothing is good, nothing is bad. It is. It is my reaction, my expression that changes it, and how I communicate that. You know, whether it's vocally, whether it's energetically, whether it's non-verbally. You know, one of my favorite posters I have is a picture of a cat saying, "Excuse my face for what it was saying while you were talking." You know, I mean, so that which is very true. That is something we'll be aware of. What we do is we communicate our experience. So if we're looking at our experience, we can, with discernment, decide what is it I'm going to communicate. And it's an interesting day again, because we have the moon void of course, and the moon is going into Capricorn. And when it's in Capricorn, it's not playing with the other places right now. It's just identifying that bigger structure. What am I looking at myself? Venus is trine Pluto, which also is going to be going on for a couple of days. Venus newly in Gemini with that Aquarian Pluto. So it's a lot about how I value how I think. I value that transformational energy and the vision that I have, what is beautiful for myself. So we take this month out with that energy stepping forth very quickly. Again, we've got this kind of magical time of good luck, fortune, just magic available to experience and create the life that we are really looking at creating. And that 25th is kind of a pivotal day. It actually started today, and it goes all the way up until the 28th. So
yeah. And what I want to do is we're going to skip over the last week of May, just for a moment. We're going to hop into the first week of June, on June 3rd, for example.
Yeah, I just posted about June 3rd.
Yes, because June 3rd, Mercury enters Gemini. And Mercury's the ruler of Gemini. So let's talk about that. And that's, from what I was looking at, that's a very short transition too, because as of the 17th, Mercury then
Yes,
enters.
it's kind of speeding through this. And what's interesting is on the 3rd is an alignment of 6 planets. 4 is a lot. 6 are aligning. So
What's the planets?
Oh, I haven't written them all down. I haven't written them all down, but it's all our daily planets, and then it's Neptune, Uranus, and I think Jupiter.
I was reading that somewhere as well, but I haven't written those notes down either. So let's just talk about this Mercury entering Gemini on June 3rd, and the fact that, again, Mercury is the ruler of Gemini, and that will now make for 4 planets sitting in Gemini. Yes, correct? Sun,
Yes.
Venus, 4 sitting in Gemini. So for those who do have Sun, Moon, and Ascending in their Gemini energy, let's talk a little bit about what that's going to do for all of them and all of us, because we all have Gemini someplace in our chart.
Well, and if you, with Jupiter moving into Gemini, whatever house that is an area of expansion for you over the next year. And so with Mercury moving into Gemini at that point, that particular house for you will have some new experiences to kind of kick off that year of experiences with that Jupiter energy in Gemini.
All right, so let me ask this question before we go further, because if I'm confused, I know they're going to be confused. So I'm going to ask this question based on what you just said. So whatever house Jupiter is on the chart, that's where the experience is happening, correct? Is that what you just said?
Gemini.
Or wherever Gemini is on the chart.
Because Jupiter is expanding that area in your chart.
Got it. That's why I was confused, because I thought I heard you say Jupiter. I was like, wait a minute, if I'm confused, I know they're going to be confused.
I mean, wherever Jupiter is, it's obviously expanding, and Gemini is coming to give you a new experience to where Jupiter is on your chart. Absolutely. And because Jupiter is now moved into Gemini, where Gemini is on your chart is a place of expanding, an area of your life where the conversation takes place. Where's Gemini in your chart?
I was just going to grab my paper because I was going to ask you the same thing. And while I'm looking at my chart, everyone who is watching, and we do have a bunch of people, we have Cheryl, we have Anne, we have Isabel. Yes, so we have 3 or 4 people watching. So whoever's watching, Anne, Cheryl, Isabel, if you know where Gemini is on your chart, put that in the comments, and we'll give you some insight to what's going to take place for you. As for me, I have Gemini in my, look at this. I think that's how excited I am. I have Gemini. I have Gemini in my 11th and 12th house. I have Gemini.
So something is expanding, uncovering for you, and it's in groups. I have my descendant in Gemini. So my relationship point is Gemini. It's 29th degree of Gemini. And it's mainly for me in the 6th house, though obviously it ticks into the 7th house. So it's very much for me about the systems, the pieces, how that is being put together. And interestingly enough for me, because of what Pluto's doing, that's the house that Pluto is transiting. So it's going to be kind of a double piece of that, because Pluto is transiting. It's in Virgo. It's the only house it's transiting. So it's a lot about transforming services and systems and the smaller pieces and how I put the puzzle pieces together. That's an expansion for me. And because it's my relationship point, it's expanding in relationships. So
love that. Love that. Yes. Yes. And I don't have any planets in either my 11th or 12th house. I do have an asteroid, but I don't have that chart in front of me, reference to the asteroid that's there, but I do have an asteroid in my Gemini section. I think it's my 12th house stuff.
So Cheryl says she has Gemini in the 8th house. So that's an expansion and experience of transitions, of transformations, of dealing with, because the 8th house is all about the circle of life and death. But it's the circle of transformation.
It's also the house of secrets. So secrets will be revealed.
Yeah, really the 12th house is the house of secrets. The 8th house is the house of the taboo. The darkness. And but it's finding the light in the darkness. It's Scorpio. It's very much so there's an expansion there of transformation for you and your experience of it because it's in Gemini. So
yes. And isn't the 8th house also about the shadow work as well, if I'm not mistaken?
Yeah, definitely. It's the dive into the dark to bring the light out.
Yes, yeah. Yeah, that's where I get the secrets from.
Yeah.
You know,
the 12th house is the unconscious and secrets are revealed.
Yes.
Where we store them. In the 8th house, we're looking for them. In the 12th house, they're flowing to us.
Yes. Well, it's like we say, you know, when we're looking through the treasure box, we're looking, we're going to find something in the treasure box, and what you're not expecting to find is what you're going to find, those secrets, when things come into flow. So for anyone who is watching and not quite sure of where Gemini is on your chart, but you don't have a chart, know that you can always go over to astro.com. I'm going to stick that up so you can actually see the
there's all kinds, astrocharts.com, astroseek.com.
That you can get the free chart. And this right here, you'll be able to follow along when Kitty and I come together, or if you happen to watch me on a lot of my lives that I do. I'm always talking about the energy, so it's always a good idea to have your chart in front of you. And this way here, you can play along. And if you're not sure how to read your chart, you can always reach out to Kitty or I. Both of us do that, where we help clients like yourself learn to read your chart, because it's really, at least from my perspective, it's really important to understand your chart. This way here, you can better understand where the energy is and how it does influence you. And it also helps you, I believe, it's your navigating system. Without astrology, I don't really know where the hell I'd be in the last couple of years, other than maybe upside down on my head.
Well, it's interesting too, because we're Gemini. So like for you, Joanne, Gemini and its expansion is really about a lot of the breath work, how we use our voice, how we breathe, the prana. And so very much about our core, being in touch with the core of our breath, the core of who we are. That's Gemini energy. And since Jupiter's in there, it's going to be expanding that understanding.
Yes. And I'm glad that Kitty brought that up, because when we talk about Jupiter in Gemini, when we talk about Jupiter in any zodiac sign, it doesn't matter which one, Jupiter plays a role when it comes to your body weight, plays a role in your body weight. So when we speak about Jupiter being in Gemini, the role Jupiter is going to play in Gemini is how you speak, your internal dialogue to yourself regarding your body, your dialogue that you have with your body. When you look in a mirror, and I was having a conversation the other day, I think it was a live, where I was talking about how there are many women that do not have full-length mirrors. They really only have mirrors that come to about here, so they really never see what they look like from their chest down. I encourage everybody to go get themselves a full-length mirror and get in the habit of standing in front of it completely nude. And yes, I said nude. Why? With this Gemini energy with Jupiter, this is your time to reset the way you see yourself in your own body. It's time to start speaking kindly to your body. Because when you start speaking kindly to your body, when you start loving your body, you start appreciating your body, that energy is also going to expand outward as well, where people are going to appreciate you as well. Everything we do is an inside job. So if you're looking to change anything about any of your relationships, you have to change the relationship with yourself. And Jupiter in Gemini is a perfect time to do this, to start transforming the way you feel about your body.
How are you experiencing yourself?
Yeah.
With clothes, without clothes, I mean, it can be be careful of your nonverbal communication. Do you look in the mirror and go like this?
Exactly. And it's not just about, well, I love my personality. Screw the personality. What do you love about your body? Do you love your arms? Do you love your legs? Especially your legs, for us women out there, your legs carry you to where you have to go. And you need to learn to love your legs. You need to learn to love the fact that you have this body that you're in. Your arms help you to carry the packages that you carry every day. Your arms help you to move things around your house. Start loving them. And the more you do love them, the more appreciated and the more confident you're going to show up in your body. And that's going to show up outward. And people are going to see you in a whole different way. And they're going to love you even more because you love yourself. So Jupiter and Gemini, perfect time to do just that.
So I've pulled 2 cards.
Are you going to share them?
No. Just thought I'd tell you. I'm in Maine. That's what Mainers do. I pulled 2 cards. You know, they don't necessarily. So the first one was seasons change and so do you. And this is about an expansion, about very much changing. And I asked for a second one, and it says about, you know, seasons change and so do you. And don't worry, your time will come. Whatever the change is, enjoying all of the stages. It's not about, you know, years ago I went to there's product and process, and they're equally as important. The process of how I go through the change, the experience of it, is equally as important as what I get to.
Yes. There's so many people that want to rush their experience.
Oh, I do.
Bypass. What's that?
I do sometimes. Like, I just want to be there, you know.
You know, that bypasses the actual experience. Yet the experience is where you get the lesson from. So if you're going to try to go on a quick fix of anything, you're missing the big lesson, and it's going to come back. You're going to have to do it again. And I don't know about you guys. I know a lot of the lessons that I've gone through in even the last couple of years, I don't want to do them again. So I'd much rather learn the lesson now so I don't have to repeat it. And that's why I'm doing the work that I do, because I don't want to repeat it. I'll go through the stuffiness, the deep shit. I'll go through that now, get past it, learn what I need to learn, and move on so I can be in my joy. And here's a fun one, guys. Be in your joy while you're going through it. Because if you can be in your joy while you're going through it, just imagine how joyful you're going to be once you get to it. Yes. Let's see what we need to know based on that statement. Interesting card. Card that shows up is fearless. Fearless. And I think it's a really important card because the one thing that happens for most of us is when we are experiencing something, we right away go into a sense of fear, anxiety, anxiousness, overwhelm. Be fearless about it. Because being a state of anxiety or fear is not going to make the experience any easier. So dive into it with fearlessness. Be courageous. Tap into your sacral energy. And rather than judging yourself or blaming yourself or shaming yourself for whatever it is that got you to where you are, because we all do it. We all sit back and say, damn, if I would have done it differently, maybe the outcome would be different. How do we fucking know that? Oops.
She said a really naughty word.
And it came out intensely, too. Woo! I never curse. That's really bad. Woo! We're gonna have to
curse. Me, on the other hand?
Yeah, we're going to have to tell Joe about that one because I don't curse. Woo! That one got me, guys. Anyways, let's get back. Let's just trip over that one. So anyway,
what's the word again?
We're not saying it again. It's the F word.
No, the word on your card.
Fearless. I am being fearless today, guys. I'm saying the F word. So anyway, so by experiencing the anxiety or blaming yourself or judging yourself, it's not going to help the situation any. It got you where you are. Accept it. 7 and 8, that works out to be hour 15, which is 6. This is your time to heal. This is your time to be in a space of healing. This is your time to experience. This is your time to get yourself on your schedule. And stop being ashamed or stop feeling embarrassed or feeling as though, well, if I put me on my schedule first and I don't do for somebody else, I'm being selfish. And I said this earlier. You're not being selfish. You're allowing yourself time to heal so you can be a better version for others. And remember, guys, you're already the best version of yourself. You just have to start seeing yourself as the best version of yourself. Love that card. And
Well,
that sacral energy, that's all your internal womb work you have to do.
yeah, it's the expression "love is blood is thicker than water" is really not the people. That's a well, bastardized version of it. It's the blood of the your blood is thicker than the water of the womb. So it's really actually the opposite. It's not to say blood is thicker, it's to say the womb's energy that you come from is still thin. And what brings you blood and life is what is more connective. So it's really not saying your family, it's actually saying almost the opposite. So interesting.
And the perfect heart, self-love. Self-love. Because when you show yourself self-care, you're showing self-love. And you have to love yourself. You have to love yourself. And I'm hoping that with the Sun, Venus, and Jupiter all in Gemini, and then once Mercury joins them, that you'll be able to experience self-love. 7 and 3 is our 10 energy, which is about the soul's work you're here to do. It's also about a new way of doing your soul's work, a new way of experiencing your soul's work. Very important to ground your energy. Ground yourself so you can feel that connection between Mother Earth and heaven, and know that you have the support between the two to do this work that you came here to do. Remember, you're not given any work that you did not sign up for. I'm going to say that again. You're not doing any work that you did not sign up for. Now, I know I've had this conversation with Kitty many times. I sit back and I say, damn, if I really knew that I was responsible for signing up for this, what the hell was I thinking? And I'm sure every one of us have said that at one point or another in our journey. What were we thinking now that we know that we are responsible for this work that we are here to do because we signed up for it? We literally signed a contract and said, yeah, I'll do this in this lifetime. Because we chose not to do it in a last lifetime. So it's like, okay, it's time to do it in this lifetime. And note, whatever you choose not to do in this lifetime means you're going to come back and do it in the next lifetime because you have a contract. So might as well do it now. Come back now. Come and do it now. Finish it off now.
Well, I think it's interesting, too, that with this Gemini energy is your personal thinking, but it's still thinking. And both those cards were about rooting yourself in self-love and being fearless about that energy of your sacral that lets you survive, that lets you flourish and move beyond survival. Be fearless. And, of course, I like 7 and 8 because that's a message for my mom. So the next two cards I got, I love them, are You Are Ready, Manifest, Go. And it says to unravel the burden. You've been talking about this, to lighten the load. Unravel the burden, lighten up the load. And on top is sitting here, release and trust your instincts. And that's that sacral energy. Look, the howling at the energy.
And very perfectly aligned. Talk about the sacral energy. There we go again. The sacral. Your queen and king energy, your masculine and your feminine. The work that you're here to do. This is not about finding someone to what's the word I'm looking for? To complete you or to support you. You are completed just as you are. And you can support yourself on this journey as the queen and king that you are. The masculine and feminine energy. We all have it, men and women. And it's really important that we start to utilize both of them, energetically speaking. The sacral energy, again, coming back into the confidence, coming back into your strength and your internal power that you have, your resilientness that you have, so you can push through whatever and wherever you are on your chapter right now. As I said, God, and I'm going to use the word God, doesn't give you anything you cannot handle. This is your contract and you can handle it. It may be rough as hell, but you can do it. You can push through. And when you do, and you find yourself on the other end and you see yourself seeing things differently, you're going to be very proud of yourself for doing that. That 2 energy works right into our Taurus energy. And we still have planets sitting in Taurus as we speak. We have Uranus there. And we still have Mercury there until June 30th. So we do have other
and Jupiter till the 25th.
Yes, and Jupiter. Well, Venus too until the 23rd. So we still have many planets still in that second house energy, Taurus energy, helping you to transform your physical material possessions. Looking at them. How do you value them? How do you value the relationships that you have with yourself and others? How do you value your money? How are you investing your money? What are you investing your money on? What are you spending your money on? What are you saving your money on? And remember, people, you can't take your money with you. You know, when it's your time to go, you can't take your money with you. Even if you ask them to put it in your grave, they'll put it in your grave for the sake of the memorial of the what do they call that? The funeral process. But they're gonna take it out. So you can't take it with you. So you might as well invest it. You might as well use it. You might as well enjoy it while you're here on this earth to do just so. Tap into that sacral energy to work out all of the things you're judging or shaming or blaming or feeling guilty about. There's no need to be guilty anymore. Accept it for what it is and move on. Love that card. Love that. You want to do one more card? Hello there, Sydney. Sydney is here with us. Sydney Salt.
I pulled my last card, and it's first of all,
Guess what card you pulled up, people?
Intuition. And of course, it is that 2 energy and that 4 energy. And again, here we are in the root chakra. And it's a 6, which is what we started with the 7 and 8. Came to 15 is a 6. Again, this love, this tapping into that piece of it. Be fearless. Follow your intuition. Looking at that. Yeah, for some reason they said, go pull from Joanne's deck. I did.
Yes. Yes, and Cheryl is saying she really feels like she should give us a big thank you, as she feels like this is a personal reading for her. Yes, which is usually what readings are really about, people, is when we are reading, something we say probably would resonate with each and every one of you on an individual level. Something. Anne says the same thing, that she feels like this reading is for her.
Well, and this is a time right now. Nothing is random. Absolutely nothing that comes to you is random. There's a magic. There's a synergy that's happening. It's opening passageways. So tonight we're obviously getting about rooting yourself. Use your intuition. Number 6, love. So I'm curious to see what she pulls. And the sacral chakra, beyond being fearless.
Yeah. And if you wouldn't mind putting in the comments when your birthday is, because I know you're a Gemini birthday. So if you could put that in the comments, I would love to know what day that is, because I do not remember. I know you're a Gemini birthday. As I'm shuffling the cards, the card, higher education, so higher wisdom. And we have that 6 there, which is that 9 energy, which we talked about that 9 again. 9s are about an ending. We are ending a cycle. Every one of us are ending something. And again, as I said earlier, if you are in your joyful place, be in your joyful place, because you may be coming to a point where something's going to dip a little bit because there's a lesson coming through. Your 9 is your higher learning. Your 9 is your truth place. Your 9 is your dream state. Your 9 is what you're learning
Jupiter.
about. Your 9 is your Jupiter.
Is your Jupiter, yeah.
Higher learning, higher wisdom. This is about learning how to balance the ego and your higher wisdom. This is not about letting go of your ego. This is learning how to balance the two and recognize that when you are being led by your ego, so you can be more led by your higher wisdom. And when you can move into that higher wisdom, that's where your mind shift begins to change. Because again, like the story I shared earlier with my dad and I, where I was annoyed with him, but then I stepped back and I moved into a place of compassion and grace. That was my higher wisdom. I knew there was something more going on, and I had to step back and give him that ease and grace. And if we can all do that when we're experiencing it, we do save a lot of time and energy with that. That pink is the high heart, which is about compassion, joy, happiness. Anne's birthday is June 10th. So I'm just going to give Anne some insight for her birthday. So hang in there, Anne. I'm trying to do math in my head. We know how that works.
Well, I'll tell you, Anne, it's a Leo moon that day. while she's doing her
Oh,
math.
we're back to 6. She's in her 6th energy year. And I just want to double check that. So I'm jumping off of Facebook a minute. I on my calculator. Just want to make sure I have that right.
And so
Yes,
you
it is a 6.
And she kicks off her year with very much her heart being anchored in that Leo energy of who am I? What am I here to be? What makes me roar? And that particular day, Mercury is able to play with that energy, that moon energy. So very much expanding that, kind of a double Gemini day for her.
Yeah. And Anna, I want to let you know, because I just realized that you and I both have the same personal energy year number. So anytime I talk about my personal energy year number, you have the same number. We just have it in different months and days in general, but we're both 6. So 6 is about being the healer, being the nurturer, scheduling time to do things, servicing your body, servicing others. But remember, before you service others, to service yourself. You must service yourself first before you start helping others to do anything. And it's the healer within. It's very much associated with that Virgo energy about organizing and decluttering and letting things go that you no longer need as you start your rebirth energy. This is a time to let things go you don't need anymore. Let the burdens go, let it all go. Lighten up the energy that you're around. The more you lighten things up and declutter, the lighter you're going to begin to feel. This is a part of a lot of the work that I do with clients in regards to releasing weight. When we start decluttering the physical things around us, and that also gives us an opportunity to declutter the mind, because we have less things around us, that we can start seeing and experiencing different things differently. That helps us to experience the emotions. And that's where we can work on releasing that excess weight we're holding on to without going on an extreme diet. Imagine that you get to eat and release weight at the same time. I think that's a win-win.
I put it down for that. Well, Joanne, as usual, this is a lot of fun.
Yes, so guys, thank you so much for being here with us tonight and playing and sharing your information with us. We truly appreciate it. Enjoy this Gemini season. I know I'm going to, and I know Kitty's going to, and we'll be back again because there's a lot more stuff coming through in June. And
yeah, I think we should come back before the end of the month, because the end of the month has some kind of cool, again, we're coming into that magic. We're coming into this very social, and we've been learning about so this is the time we're going to practice kindness. We're going to practice, how do I want to receive that? I mean, I had a funny story just today. I said to my husband, and this is just about how you react. My husband's a Virgo. I said and a Leo moon. I had gotten a piece of mail, and it had 2 different colors, and I was going to give one to a friend of mine because I don't need this item. It's actually flea combs and stuff. And there's 3. They gave me 2 sets, and I don't need 2 sets. So I was giving one to a friend of ours. They're about to get 2 kittens. And I just looked at my husband and I said, pick a color. Which color you want to keep? Well, I don't need to pick a color. What? I don't want to pick a color. I don't usually do that. I'm not the one that takes care. And he goes into this whole long thing. And I'm like, I just want you to pick a color.
Can you just pick a damn color?
Well, I wasn't asking you or telling you you're going to have a new responsibility. But that's the whole idea of this communication. How do I respond? Do I respond that it's something more, or do I just respond to the words somebody said, or do I ask a clarifying thing? I started laughing. I finally said, if you ever want to know what defensiveness sounds like, there would be, just pick a color. Then we're going to move on. So it was just funny. So anyway, thanks, Carol.
Yes, I think that is funny. That's very funny. Very funny.
But that's what this Gemini is. Can I respond and experience it the way I want to experience it? If I'm getting suspicious of people, that's not on them, that's on me.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
So, all right.
All right, guys. Have a nice night. Till we meet again. Enjoy. Takes us a little time to jump off.